Chuck Connors left more than a TV show when he died in 1992. Like any Western, Connors' life was dramatic, from his secret Cold War diplomacy to shocking affairs that nearly destroyed his career. Finally, 30 years later, the truth emerges: how a Brooklyn baseball player became a Soviet hero, why his 3 marriages ended in scandal, and his unspoken secret until his death. Chuck Connors was born Kevin Joseph Aloysius Connors in Brooklyn on April 10, 1921. His Irish parents, Alan and Marcella Connors, worked hard to support their family during the Great Depression. His father was a longshoreman, and his mother worked small jobs to support them. Life was hard, but Chuck learned from hard work. Chuck spent his childhood playing sports at the Bay Ridge Boys Club in a working-class neighborhood. Baseball was his passion, and he wanted to play for Brooklyn. Chuck's life changed at 14. Scouts noticed his athleticism and offered him a scholarship to Adelphi Academy, a Brooklyn private high school. This was his big chance, and he took advantage. At Adelphi, he excelled in baseball, basketball, football, and track. Chuck was a talented first baseman and a Brooklyn High School All-Star in 1939. Chuck received athletic scholarships from over 25 colleges after high school. Choosing Seton Hall University in New Jersey, he played basketball and baseball. He won basketball games as a backup center with his height and defense. He excelled in baseball. Professional scouts noticed Chuck's 2 home runs and 6 RBIs in a 1942 game. Chuck finally got his nickname during this time. He shouted "Chuck it to me" while playing first base, hence the name. World War II interrupted Chuck's college career. In 1942, he joined the Army and trained at Fort Knox. His height and athleticism made him a tank warfare instructor. He later taught soldiers and famous football players who won national championships at West Point. Chuck followed sports while in the military. He played semi-professional baseball in Brooklyn and NBA basketball in his spare time. After 3 years in the Army, Chuck was honorably discharged in 1946. After the Army, he joined the Celtics in 1946's inaugural season. His height was 6'5". He played forward and center. That season, Connors averaged 4.50 points in 49 games. He played his best on December 13, 1946, scoring 15 points in a close win over the Steamrollers. His basketball career was brief. After a few months with the Celtics, Connors left for baseball in February 1947. He got his big chance with the Brooklyn Dodgers on May 1, 1949, but it started poorly. In his only Dodgers game, Connors hit into a double play and lost. He persevered in the minors, playing for the Montreal Royals. He returned to the majors with the Cubs in 1951. He had some big moments in 66 games that season. He hit his first home run against the Giants on July 18, 1951. He hit another against the Giants a month later on August 26. Connors finished the season with 48 hits and a .239 average. Not bad for a two-sport player. Chuck Connors' Hollywood career began unexpectedly. He played minor league baseball for the Los Angeles Angels in 1952. An unusual event occurred during a game against the Sacramento Solons on a sunny afternoon. Chuck homered big. Not just any home run. It cleared the fence and caught MGM casting director Billy Gordon's attention in the crowd. Billy couldn't ignore Chuck's tall, strong frame and rugged face. He went straight to the locker room and gave Chuck his card after the game. He advised him to act. He didn't take it seriously. The baseball player didn't see himself as an actor. A few weeks later, Chuck hurt himself playing. Though minor, it gave him time to think. He visited MGM to learn about acting out of curiosity. They immediately offered him a screen test, surprising him. They liked what he tried. Chuck got his first Hollywood contract 3 days later. One quick decision changed his life forever. He made his film debut in Pat and Mike, a romantic comedy starring Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn. Chuck's role was minor. He was a big deal for a new actor. Chuck was nervous but excited on his first filming day. He arrived early and prepared for hours. His scene occurred late that night. He got it right in 2 takes when the cameras rolled. Spencer Tracy told him, "You've got something, stick with it," afterward. They meant everything to Chuck and gave him the courage to continue. After that, Chuck jumped into acting. He accepted every job, big or small. He made over 20 films between 1952 and 1958. His 1957 portrayal of Bernie Sanderson in Disney's Old Yeller was one of his most memorable. The movie was a hit and helped Chuck gain attention. His films include Trouble Along the Way with John Wayne and The Big Country with Gregory Peck and Charlton Heston. Each role boosted his acting skills and reputation. Connors appeared in 18 TV shows during this time, in addition to his film work. Connors' work ethic and versatility allowed him to succeed in both film and TV, which was rare for actors back then. His 6 years of hard work, diverse roles, and over 1,400 minutes of screen time prepared him for his next career chapter. Chuck Connors became famous as Lucas McCain in The Rifleman, slowly. Connors played a father in Disney's 1957 Old Yeller. The Rifleman producers liked his performance and thought he was perfect for their show. Connors initially declined because the pay was lower than his other acting jobs, but the producers wanted him and offered more money and 5% ownership of the show. That made him accept the role. Connors trained after being cast. He learned to spin and shoot a rifle well on camera and ride horses. Gun expert Rod Redwin helped him master the moves. Though his hands were sore and blistered, Connors kept practicing until he got it right. The show premiered on September 30, 1958, and was immediately popular. Over 14 million watched the first episode. Lucas McCain, played by Connors, was tough but kind, especially to his son Mark, played by Johnny Crawford. Show fans loved the father-son relationship. Critics said Connors showed strength and emotion. Also notable was the show's rifle. This Winchester 1892 had been customized to be a unique rifle. To flashily cock the gun, Connors had the lever made extra large. He started every episode with this spinning move, his signature. A special trigger screw made the rifle shoot fast. McCain outgunned the bad guys in seconds, making for exciting scenes. The rifle was so popular that Winchester made a real-life version for fans. The show was more than action. Family was what set the Rifleman apart. Lucas McCain raised his son alone in the Old West, as a widower. Most TV families had both parents at the time. The show often examined Lucas's fatherhood and protection struggles. He hesitated to let Mark testify in court, one episode out of concern for his son's safety. In another, Lucas had to control his anger while teaching Mark emotional management. Lucas and Mark's relationship was real and resonated with viewers. Connors received letters from single fathers thanking him for recognizing their struggles. One widower said your show gave him the strength to continue. Chuck Connors was more than the Rifleman's star. He played a major role behind the scenes. In the second season, he attended writer meetings. Some of his story ideas became fan favorites. The photographer was inspired by Connors' baseball career experience with an overexcited fan. Lucas McCain's dialogue was also tailored by Connors. He often added old-fashioned slang to lines to make McCain sound like a rancher from that time. Connor also wanted McCain to be relatable. He didn't want McCain glorified. He preferred stories that showed McCain's moral flaws. McCain accidentally kills an innocent man in waste. Connors fought for this story to show the weight of rifle carrying. Connors also cast guest stars like Duke Snider, his former baseball teammate, and helped new actors like Dennis Hopper, who appeared in the pilot. By the final season, Connors was a story consultant on some episodes. He co-wrote the two-part series finale to resolve loose ends and return characters. The Rifleman reached the fourth highest TV rating in its first season, a huge feat given the tough competition. It premiered on September 30, 1958, to 14.60 million households with a 33.10 Nielsen rating. Many viewers were drawn to the father-son relationship and thrilling action sequences. By February 1959, 78% of viewers watched for the family bond, and 92% of 18 to 49-year-old men liked the action. Within 3 months of its premiere, the show sold $2 million in toy rifles, lunchboxes, and comic books. After 3 Emmy nominations in its first season, it remained popular for 5 years, ranking 27th in its final season. Fans still watch the Rifleman reruns decades later. It was still popular with 55-year-olds, according to a 2018 MeTV survey. After The Rifleman ended in 1963, Chuck Connors faced a major challenge. Lucas McCain made him famous, but it also pigeonholed him as a Western hero. The show had 5 seasons and 168 episodes, and viewers couldn't separate Connors from the character. Typecasting became an issue. Connors turned down many Western offers to prove he could play other roles. He rejected 8 Western TV pilots in 2 years after The Rifleman. He hoped this would boost his career, but it slowed him down. Connors tried something new in Move Over, Darling, in 1964, to shed his cowboy image. He played a stiff banker with Doris Day and James Garner. Though a departure from his frontier roles, the film didn't help him. Even when auditioning for non-Western roles, producers and casting directors said he seemed too Western as Lucas McCain. By 1965, Connors was so frustrated that he considered quitting acting and playing sports again. Connors found new roles in 2 TV shows that showcased his acting range despite these challenges. In 1963 to 1964, Connors played defense attorney John Egan in Arrest and Trial. It was groundbreaking to split each 90-minute episode into 2 parts, a detective's investigation and Connors' courtroom drama. Instead of cowboy gear, Connors played a polished, intellectual character in a suit. Critics praised his performance, but the show ended after 1 season. In 1965, Connors returned to a Western with Branded, a unique story. He played cavalry officer Jason McCord, falsely accused of cowardice and discharged from the Army. McCord's quest for redemption was the show's focus. It lasted 2 seasons and 48 episodes, giving Connors a chance to play a more complex and emotional character than his previous heroes. In 1977's groundbreaking miniseries Roots, Connors played Tom Moore, his most powerful role. The series chronicled an African-American family from slavery to today. Connors played a cruel plantation owner, a change from his past. His chilling performance depicted slavery's brutality. Without caricaturing Moore, around 100 million people watched the final episode, a huge success. Connors' rare Emmy nomination showed his ability to play controversial characters. Connors did B-movies and TV guest appearances later in his career. The 1979 horror film Tourist Trap was one of his best roles. He played creepy museum owner Mr. Slauson with evil mannequins. The film struggled at first but became a cult classic. Connor fought aliens in the 1980 low-budget sci-fi film The Daytime Ended. She wrote that Fantasy Island, The Love Boat, and Murder featured him. He played the villain Janos Skorzenny in the 1987 to 1988 horror action series Werewolf, showing his darker side. As with his characters, Chuck Connors' personal life was full of love, heartbreak, and drama. Montreal model Betty was his first wife. They met in 1948 at a Montreal Royals game where Chuck played. Betty was wealthy, so their romance moved quickly. Chuck was 27 and still figuring out his career when they married on October 1st, 1948. They had 4 sons, Michael, Jeffrey, Stephen, and Kevin. Everything was fine until Chuck's acting career took off, especially after The Rifleman in 1958. Long absences for filming and working led to rumors of infidelity. Their relationship soured behind the scenes. Betty discovered his affair with an actress on a film set in 1961. That broke her. Her divorce was finalized in 1962. They were polite in public, but Betty threatened to expose his affairs unless Chuck agreed to her divorce terms. Chuck married Geronimo actress Kamala Devi in 1963, his second marriage. Kamala, born in Mumbai, India, was mixed Indian and British, making her marriage stand out in Hollywood at a time when interracial relationships were rare. They were admired for their on-screen and off-screen chemistry and Branded in Cowboy and Africa. Their relationship wasn't always easy. Kamala wanted Chuck to play more sophisticated roles, but Chuck believed his rugged cowboy image made him successful. Their differing goals caused tension. Chuck's infidelity also strained the marriage. Their early passion faded, and they divorced in 1972 after 9 years together. The Proud and Damned, their last film, was a sad reflection of their relationship. Shortest and possibly most controversial was Chuck's third marriage. He met Faith Quabius on the 1973 Soylent Green set, where she played a small role. Faith was much younger than Chuck, precisely 33 years younger. They married privately in Mexico on September 7, 1977. Chuck, 56, joked that they'd been playing husband and wife on stage so much they decided to marry. Their marriage lasted 3 years. They divorced in 1980. Faith later blamed Chuck's drinking for his abusive behavior in their marriage. Chuck denied the allegations, but they damaged his reputation. Connor's life was marked by rumors of affairs and turbulent relationships. The whispers of infidelity from his first marriage never left him. One woman claimed Connors fathered her child after a 1960s affair, but this was never proven. Connors was known for flirting on set. Joan Crawford said he could charm birds from trees but wasn't loyal. Some actresses refused to work with him due to his reputation. The 1975 party incident, where Connors was caught compromising with a young actress, is notorious. Though hushed up, the scandal cost him a major film role. His children from his first marriage said his lifestyle stressed them out. Jeffrey Connors said his father always sought thrills, which affected everyone. Despite the scandals, Connors rarely addressed rumors. At the end of his life, he said, "I lived my life my way. I have no regrets, but others may disagree." Chuck Connors' political views set him apart in Hollywood. Chuck joined a pro-war parade in New York City in 1967, when most Hollywood residents opposed the Vietnam War. Others criticized him, but many praised him. Chuck shared more than his beliefs. He worked hard for them. He supported Republican candidates, especially Barry Goldwater, in 1964. Chuck didn't mind his career's damage. "I'd rather lose a job than compromise my principles," he said. He was asked to run for Congress in 1972, but he chose acting. Hollywood fought over the Vietnam War, but Chuck remained steadfast. He disagreed with protesters and supported the war. He marched with others for U.S. troops in 1967. "We're fighting communism there, so why fight it here?" This upset many Hollywoodites, and he even argued with co-stars. He and Charlton Heston argued about the war while filming Soylent Green. Chuck did more than talk. He visited Vietnam frequently between 1968 and 1972 to show support. Chuck lamented the mistreatment of veterans after the war. He said the country let them down and they deserved parades, not protests. This was Chuck's most surprising career discovery. The Soviet Union loved The Rifleman. The Rifleman was one of the few American shows allowed on Soviet TV in the 1960s and 1970s, when tensions were high. People loved Lucas McCain because he was a strong father and justice advocate. Around 250 million Soviets watched the show in 1973. Even Soviet leader Leonid Brezhnev loved it. Washington, D.C. hosted Brezhnev, asking Chuck Connors to meet in 1973. This meeting produced something amazing. Later that year, Brezhnev invited Chuck to Moscow. Chuck was treated like a star for 2 weeks. Chuck gave Brezhnev guns, and they played with them at the Kremlin. At a special screening of The Rifleman, fans flocked to Chuck for autographs. Chuck made a peace and friendship documentary on this trip, which millions watched on Soviet TV. Chuck met ordinary Soviet citizens and discussed American-Soviet relations in the documentary. Connors played one final role a year before his death. The Gambler Returns, The Luck of the Draw, starring Kenny Rogers, aired on November 3, 1991. Connors played his most famous character, Lucas McCain from The Rifleman, in a brief but memorable scene. McCain's classic outfit and Winchester rifle were on him. McCain challenges the gambler to a shootout. The 90-second scene brought back memories of Connors' favorite role. Fans loved his final McCain performance. The moment was even more special because Johnny Crawford, who played his son Mark in The Rifleman, appeared. Longtime fans were thrilled by their brief but touching scene. High-rated, the film was a fitting farewell to Connors' most famous role. Doctors diagnosed him with lung cancer at 71 in 1992. Because he smoked 3 packs a day, this was likely. Fans were shocked because Connors was always strong and healthy. He initially kept his illness a secret and kept appearing in public. By October 1992, he was sicker. He was admitted to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles on October 28 with pneumonia, which worsened things. He battled the illness for 13 days while doctors tried everything. Connors died November 10, 1992. Lung cancer and pneumonia killed. Co-stars, athletes, and fans mourned his death. Connors left a strong legacy. His show, The Rifleman, is still popular and airs today. It inspired westerns and shaped television portrayals of single fathers. Connors also made sports history. Only 13 players played in both MLB and NBA. He broke the first backboard in a game in 1946 for the Boston Celtics. This happened during Celtics warm-ups before their first home game. Though his baseball career was brief, Connors had a lasting impact. He settled a 1966 contract dispute between Dodgers pitchers Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale, a pivotal moment that empowered baseball players.